Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Inside the Mug. Oh, welcome Stella. Stella wants to get inside the mug. I think her head's about, she can fit right inside this mug, I think. She's been in the mug the whole time. She just crawled out. Look at that. Say hi, Stella. Woo, Stella Bean. All right. Welcome to Inside the Mug, episode 17. My name is Tony. This is Pod Tiki's behind the scenes show, YouTube only, video only. A lot to cover today. So, first of all, sipping a Mai Tai tonight. And everybody always asks about this glass. This is a 3-hour tour from Jeff Granite. They're still available on the website, I believe. Go check them out. Tell them you found it here and I told you about it. Maybe he'll come on the show or sometime. Maybe throw me a sponsorship. Enough dry bagging today. This one, okay, so if you watch the video and you listen to the last podcast, this episode is about the last episode of the podcast, which was about the Mai Tai 23. Yes, we already did a Mai Tai episode. It was the very first episode of Pod Tiki ever back in 2019. So, people who say that this was, a lot of people started these things during the pandemic to stay busy. This was actually a project I had going before I knew about the pandemic. It was June of 2019 when I released that episode. It was 6 months before we knew that what was coming. But I digress. Later on in the podcast, I did what I call the Mai Tai Revive, which is an update episode on some of the new stuff I found out. And then this is even a bigger update on some even new stuff with new books that I've read. Like I said, I go on this journey along with you guys. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm here to learn with you. I do have knowledge. I have done some traveling. I have done a lot of experimentation with drinking rum. And tiki drinks and tropical drinks. I did grow up in the tropics. I love that lifestyle. I'm not just about the tiki drinks. I don't just sit in my kitchen and make tiki drinks. I am about that life. And I go places as much as I can. Not as much now as I did pre-pandemic. You know, sometimes life happens. But getting back to it. So again, I'm going on the journey with you, while also sharing some of the expertise and some of the things that I've learned along the way as a passionate fan of this genre. This episode was not just a refresher episode on the Mai Tai, though. It was also a kind of a reintroduction. I mean, here I told you the first episode was June 2019. Here we are in June of 2023. So we're on it. What was our 5-year anniversary? 4-year anniversary? So 19, 20, 21, 22, 4-year anniversary. So, yeah, I mean, what a great, and I didn't even plan this, but June 21st, I can't talk to God. I'm just way too excited about dropping this episode. June 21st is when the Pod Tiki Summer Sessions Volume 1 EP is dropping with 4 of my original tunes, all set for the beach, or that beachy lifestyle, little reggae, little Hawaiian swing in there. Little something that some people might not be expecting at the end. So I'm excited about that, and I didn't even plan that to happen on the 4-year anniversary of the show. So it just all serendipitously has come together. And not to mention, what a great way to reintroduce everybody to the podcast and welcome the new people. I did a little bit of reintroduction to myself. I mean, on the show, I reintroduced the Mai Tai, and I did a little bit of updating. Now, I ran out of my Denizen Merchants Reserve doing the video and the podcast, so this is actually a split of Smith & Cross and Myers. It's a little bit darker and heavier on the fruit and molasses, like that dark fruit molasses, but it's still got enough of the pot still in there to make it, let me get my notes back on here, make it a good Mai Tai. I happen to like Myers. I like that burnt molasses char that it has to it. I know it's maybe not as traditional as like a sweet Karuba Black might be in a Mai Tai, but, you know, if you go back and listen to the episode, there are, you know, Trader Vic, when he created the Mai Tai back in 1944, one of the variations he had to do after the original Wray and Nephew 17 ran out was he used the 15 and cut it with black Jamaican rum like Karuba to try to match that flavor profile, and I don't think it ever really did work, but he ended up going with that medium-bodied Jamaican pot still and Martinique rum. But can't divulge all of the secrets because there is a twist at the end there. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you've already listened to the episode, but I don't want to give all the secrets away. We go into that episode on maybe some misconceptions we had about the rums that he used, and how Martin Cate and a few of the other people in the industry have done a little research and maybe come up with a better understanding of what that original would have tasted like. So I'm not really big on riffs too much, but the Mai Tai lends itself, as I'm starting to realize, to a lot of interpretation, and that really bums me out because I like when a drink is set and it has its set thing and we know what the recipe is. But in a drink where the original rum that was used is out of production, what are you ever going to do? So I do find myself twisting and turning my own little rules a little bit when it comes to the Mai Tai. Now I'm very strict about the other ingredients, and I always try to make sure there's Jamaican in there. I've had some Mai Tais that went off the rails totally, and I was not a fan. Even if it was a good drink, it's not a Mai Tai. So it has to have some for me, it has to have some semblance of, it has to have a Jamaican rum and then some other medium-bodied rum, whether it's a Barbados or a Martinique or you can mess with those, but Jamaican's got to be part of it. So let me see. Oh, and for those of you who have been following the Appleton 17-year release, Wray and Nephew actually owns Appleton Estate, or Appleton Estate owns Wray and Nephew. I forget which way there. I think when we did the Wray and Ting episode, we went over that. But if you follow the thread that I was on, I think it was on Kevin's Instagram on Ultimate Mai Tai. I just take umbrage with any kind of elitism when it comes to tiki and rum drinking. I may have ruffled some feathers in the industry already with my past statements, and look, we are all in the same genre. We are all in the same thing. I love everybody who's doing their thing. I love anybody who's into rum and tiki and all that, even if we take different approaches. I just happen to be I can't get behind privilege. I don't like monetary privilege, and so I don't want to rant about it too much because I don't want to sound like, I don't want to sound jealous or anything like that. I'm very content in my life and I do all right for myself. But putting a rum out there that is limited production, and I forget what the price tag on it was. It like $170 to $300 something. Maybe it was even more than that. Maybe it was something outrageous like $700. I don't even remember what the price tag. I remember looking at it and saying, "Well, that you're making this thing that people love cost prohibitive." I mean, imagine if I guess we kind of are seeing it all across the board with entertainment, right? The price of tickets to a football game or a concert have become to the point where you have to save up to go to a show like you would go to a vacation. And now it's like, I've always had a problem with allocated spirits. I've always had a problem with limited runs and allocation. And I live in Nashville, so that happens a lot with bourbons. Like, you see these bourbons that are like $50 or less getting allocated and on sale on the secondary market for the hundreds of dollars. It's like, come on, guys. Like, I hear on the West Coast, it's hard to find Buffalo Trace, and people are paying like this $100 for a bottle of Buffalo Trace when I can go to the corner market by the Kroger up here and get a bottle for $25 any day of the week. So, except on Sundays for only certain hours, because this is Tennessee and we still sort of have blue laws here. So, anyway, I just don't like the exorbitant price tag they put on a rum that's that special. I don't even mind the limited run. I understand from being somebody who's into cigars and things like that, like, you don't always have a crop or a or a distillation, a distillate to make mass production. Sometimes you have to do a limited release, but now you're making it where the person who shows up first at this, like, it should be first come first serve. Let the blue collar worker who took a day off of work to go wait at the liquor store at 7 o'clock in the morning when they open, let him get the first bottle, not the guy who goes in there and spends thousands of dollars on a bunch of bourbons a month and knows you're going to hold him a bottle to the side because, like, that's douchey, man. That's douchey. And not to mention, if you get a bottle that way, you didn't really earn it. You didn't really go on the hunt and find that cool booze, and you're not going to do anything with it. You're going to let it sit on the shelf and look at it for years, and you're going to share it with a bunch of other people that can afford to go buy their own bottles anyway. So you lose tiki points for me if you do that. I'm not a big fan of that. But I digress. I move on. The Mai Tai, I believe the story that Trader Vic told, where his friends came in, made him a drink, pulled down the recipe, and his friends from Tahiti were in, he gave them the drink, and they said, Mai Tai Roi, and, that's what happened. I don't know if that's word for word the way he tells it. I'm inclined to believe that he was an exaggerator, but I'm also inclined to believe that, like, he invented the drink either way. So if the story that he tells about how he wanted it invented, who are we to say what's right or wrong? Now, it is weird with the actual definition of Mai Tai Roi, because sometimes you look it up and the definition will show, out of this world, the best, or whatever. But I find that their sources are all the books that write about tiki. Those sources are all Trader Vic. And when you actually try to look up Tahitian, I try to do a Google Translate on Tahitian, and there's not really a good translate. The one that I found that's the closest in actual Tahitian means good day. So Mai Tai means good day. So I don't know where maybe the slang translation, maybe we lose there. I'm not sure what's up with that. But I do believe that Don the Beachcomber created tiki, and with the Mai Tai, Trader Vic defined it, because Don the Beachcomber did this thing, and the drinks were amazing, his decor was amazing, he did sort of create it. But when Trader Vic came along and made the Mai Tai, we had a template, and then for what a tiki drink was supposed to be, right? Like, there's no, just like how a lot of people tried to recreate the zombie. The problem with the zombie, though, is that as amazing and innovative as it was, some of it was very complicated, and in order to get it perfect, you had to make it just that one way. With the Mai Tai, like I said before, it's taken on, the idea of the Mai Tai is greater than the sum of its parts. It's transcended the idea of a drink. It's become this symbol of not only tiki, but of tropical vacationing and all that kind of stuff. It's just, it definitely is, it's the first drink most people order when they go to a tiki bar and try that new one. And it's really the only tiki drink that's on other menus that not tiki bars. Like, you can go to any kind of bar that has any kind of tropical version of a drink, and it's going to be the Mai Tai, or it's going to be a Jungle Bird or something like that. But Mai Tai is very often associated with more than just tiki. Another funny thing, in the episode I make a mention of the Divine Comedy from Dante, about how taking the first sip of a Mai Tai is like the end of the Divine Comedy when he's in paradise, and Dante is getting ready to, like, meet the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and in one, and see the meaning of everything. And rather than describe it, he does something very poetic, but it's kind of cliche now. But back then, it was very, very poetic. It was that he just goes on to tell us that the the explanation of divinity is more than we can comprehend, more than you can put into words, more than he can comprehend to our mortal ears. So it kind of gives him a little bit of a scapegoat to not have to show, to not to say what God looks like. But funny story about that is, well, and to me, what I was saying was that's kind of like what the first sip of a Mai Tai is like. It's almost so good, it's indescribable. It's got the mixtures of the flavors come together to make something so unique in itself that it's hard to describe. But the funny story about that, reading the Divine Comedy, I actually read the original version in like Old English in the poem. The what do they call them? Not stanzas, but the oh shoot, I'm having a brain fart for an English guy over here. But anyway, the I remember coming back from, I think I was visiting my daughter down on Amelia Island, and I was on the plane, I was heading back, and I was sitting next to this woman who like looked over and said, oh, she looked at me reading, and she was like, oh, what class are you reading that for? And I'm like, I'm not, it's just for fun. And she looked at me like, you're reading Dante's Divine Comedy in Old English for fun? And I was just, and then we both had a glass of wine, and I think I fell asleep. But I just thought that was funny because that's the kind of weird shit that I do. I had to make up for a lot of lost time in my early 30s, so I just read and I just consumed as much knowledge as possible, constantly, for all the stuff that I thought I missed out on in my misspent youth of slacking off. So, yeah, I'm trying to go down my notes here and see what else we got going on. I'm trying to think if there was anything else in the episode that really, I mean, what can I say? It's the Mai Tai. Like, it is the epitome of tiki drinks. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's my all-time favorite drink. As a Florida boy, my all-time favorite drink is the margarita. But a margarita is pretty simple. I can explain to you what a margarita tastes like. We all kind of know what tequila and triple sec and lime juice is going to taste like. The Mai Tai is unique because, much like the zombie, they define the genre, and they have so many flavors layered on top of each other that it creates this tertiary, unique, gustatory experience. Now, I think I talked a little bit in the episode about the using Pierre Ferrand as an industry standard. Man, it stinks that the industry standard has to be something that's $40 a bottle. The lucky thing is you only make it a half ounce at a time if you're going to use it just for Mai Tais. But that Pierre Ferrand is actually really good to just sip on by itself. It offers a roundness that makes the drink seem finished. You know, when there's none of that high-end fruity sharpness you get when you use like a cheaper dry curacao, but and it does make a difference. So I understand why it gets that smooth, balanced nuance, like a well-aged cigar, right? Like, you can smoke a cigar that's $10 and it might be fantastic. You step up to like a $25 Davidoff or $30 Davidoff, you smoke it slow in a place where you're comfortable and relaxed, and it's going to have a different it's going to have a different sensation. And that's a Pierre Ferrand does make a difference in the drink. And it's, unless you go to Curacao, it's going to be about the closest we're ever going to get to a real orange Curacao, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. I've had some good luck with the Marie Brizard orange Curacao. Is pretty good. It's not all like fruity and syrupy. Trying to think if there's any. There's a couple of orange liqueurs out there that I know some other people like to use, like the Orange Shrub from Clement, a couple of other. Naranja, whatever that is, those are closer to orange liqueur. I think those are closer to triple secs than orange curacao. Curacao has to have a very distinct a bitterness to it, rather than a sugary sweetness. So, which you wouldn't expect, right? You expect a clear triple sec to be more harsher and bitter, and then something with a little bit more richer and deeper color to be sweeter, but it's the other way around. Like a curacao made from the Laraja oranges are they're more of a bitter orange, and you're gonna get more of a. It makes a really good liqueur, but it doesn't have that. It's not gonna have that straight orange, like candy orange flavor that you think of in a triple sec. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I just got back from a trip to St. Augustine, Florida. That was amazing. Shout out to a couple of good places I found down there. Since this is a tiki podcast, I'm going to give a shout out to a place called Boat Drinks. That is not a tiki bar, it is a tropical bar, and I'm so glad they made this distinction. I actually got called out. They have a great rum selection back there. I wish I would have got my bartender's name, because he was, once we got settled in, he kind of saw that I knew what I was talking about. I think he kind of opened up a little bit, relaxed a little bit. We were a big party. There was like 14 of us, and the first thing I did when I walked in was ask me how many, which immediately set me off because I don't like being sat at a bar. Like, let me just pick where I want to sit. There's a bar. That bothers me. Even Chopper here in town does that now. Like, they sit you at the bar. Like, I'm like, man, it's a bar. Like, let me come in and sit where I want to sit. It takes away from the experience. Again, first come, first serve. If I want to sit in the corner of the bar and I get there before everybody else, I'm gonna sit in the corner of the bar. Don't seat me. Anyway, there was 14 of us though, so I wasn't gonna sit at the bar. What was funny was that it wasn't that many people in there, and he's like, well, we only usually do parties of 6 or 7 or 8. I was like, okay, well, can I do 2 parties of 7? Like, there's plenty of space. He ended up making it work, hooking us up, which I really appreciate. I wish I remember his name, because even though he was a little bit standoffish at first, he ended up being really cool and taking care of all of us. And he made me a tea punch off menu from the Rum JM, and then he made me a mojito. That was amazing. And they actually had the Dirty Monkey there, or the Dirty Banana, which is one of my favorites. Suffice to say, by the time I left there and went to dinner, I was, I lost a little bit of time between that place and dinner, let's just say that. But that was actually my birthday, and that's where I wanted to go. And then my mom took us to a place called the Floridian down in St. Augustine. That was amazing. Had so much good seafood while I was there. I mean, obviously, you're in St. Augustine. You're by the beach. I always try to eat as much seafood as I can when I go home. So I think I had seared tuna over a bed of rice. So good. And then the next day, I went to a place called O.C. White's in St. Augustine. And I think I had the best blackened mahi I've ever had in my entire life. And every time I'm anywhere around the water, I get mahi. That's my go-to. Whether it's a steak or a sandwich or whatever, mahi sandwich, mahi tacos, mahi steak. Blackened mahi is my all-time favorite seafood dish. It might be one of my all-time favorite dishes, like straight up, real top. But, so I had a wonderful, if you ever get a chance to go to St. Augustine, check out O.C. White's. They're not paying me, but check them out. Had a wonderful time down there with all my family, my mom and dad, my brother and sister. And all brought their families down. One of my brothers, my sister and my brother-in-law, their families, all my nieces and nephews. Unfortunately, my daughter couldn't make it because she was with her fiance in Texas. But so we were all doing a bunch of traveling that week. But yeah, just that was a wonderful, wonderful trip. Another shout out to a place called Isabella's, a little Cuban cafe where you can smoke cigars, and like this nice big leather chairs looking out the street. Me and my dad had a couple of Modelos in there, and had a good, nice, about an hour and a half, 2 hour conversation. Taberna del Caballo was another place down there, the little Spanish style dive bar kind of place, but nice. Not really a dive bar, just kind of. Anyway, everything down there, up and down the street, was nice. We had a great view of the bay where we were staying. And this nice little Irish restaurant, this little Irish bar right next door, which you don't think about hanging out at an Irish bar at the beach, but it actually was pretty cool because it became our meeting spot to kind of disperse. It was cool. It was a really, really fun trip. I always loved being by the ocean. We did go to the beach one day. We went to the island one day. Shout out to a place called Beachcomber. No relation to Don, but it was a pretty cool spot on the beach. Uh, just a lot of great stories I can't go into here because we only got about 5 minutes left here. But yeah, just really, really good times. Really glad I got to do that. So I think I just wanted to give a shout out to Boat Drinks. Let me see. Oh, we got some Pod Tiki stickers. Oh, so if you're a sticker collection, I'm going to stick these up around town wherever I am. But if you are a sticker collector and you want a few of these, yeah, get a hold of me somewhere on the social media, and I'll send you out a couple, 2, 3, whatever. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, well, I already talked about the EP coming out June 21st. That's the first day of summer. It's going to coincide with our anniversary of Pod Tiki, and that is going to be a four-track EP, summery, beachy kind of tunes. I hope everybody. It's going to be available. Oh, Stella's really excited about it. So it's going to be available at first on the website podtiki.com, and maybe then eventually on some other streaming sites. But the idea for these songs, I think I talked about it last episode, was originally to maybe pitch to some people to, pitch to artists that maybe want to cut them. So if anybody knows anybody who wants to cut them, but these are not demo tracks. These are fully produced and mastered EP that I've been working on for years. Not really working on the EP for years, but songs that has taken me years to write, and eventually I just took them all together, picked out my best 4, or my favorite 4, and like I'm sure there might be a St. Augustine song coming soon because that was a great trip. But yeah, so check out that June 21st. I'll be all over social media plugging that. Please follow the YouTube. We're really close. I think we're like 2 people away from being able to go live. We need 50 followers to go live. I hope we get a lot more than that, but that's what we need to start doing live. And then follow Instagram, pod_tiki. Follow me, my personal page, rum_poet, although the Pod Tiki page is where I do most of my interactions. Pod Tiki on Facebook, of course. And then I said the YouTube already, just go at Pod Tiki on YouTube. And then, of course, the website. We'll have links to everything on there. Links to everything. And then also, a lot of people don't, I don't know if they don't realize this, but I thought it was super cool. I got this little, this link generator, this kind of like, bio link thing in my Instagram. So that's I mostly work through Instagram. So if you want to go on my link and bio thing and click that, it'll give you links to anywhere that I have anything. Facebook, Instagram, I think I even have a Twitter on there, which I don't even use, YouTube, and coming soon, which it's actually available now, but I don't have the links up yet, I gotta put the links up, is Pod Tiki's Patreon. Pod Tiki's Patreon is active. I'm looking, right now it's a $3 subscription to just help the podcast out. I don't have any benefits on there just yet. I'm figuring that out. But in the meantime, there will be some eventually, I promise, and there'll be another tier for more stuff. I just don't know yet what, but I've had some people ask me how to support the show, and I don't like dry begging and for money, but it would, it's not cheap to do a Tiki podcast. It's not a cheap hobby. You guys know this. So. And if anybody would like to donate to the show, if anybody would like to become a member of the podcast, which leads me to my last thing, is we need a name for our crew. We need a name for our membership. We need a name, like I know Tropiki is something that I use to talk about my style, tropical and tiki mixed together. So I mean, we can do the I always had this idea of having like a female dancing team called the Tropicals, but I'm sure that's been done. But maybe the tropic something in there. I need to know what can we call ourselves, the group. Like if I want you guys to join my Patreon, but I want you to join and become like a member. We need something to call the members. We need something to call our group. Something I can call the members of the group. The Muggies or something, I don't know. The Pod pod something. I've been, and I'm usually, when I'm sitting down to write the episodes, usually this kind of stuff just comes to me, but I'm having a hard time thinking of something perfect to call our group of Podtiki fans on Patreon. So if anybody has an idea of what you think we should call ourselves on Patreon, the Politikians, I don't know. So I think that's all I have. We're at 30 minutes for today. So also, if you have any ideas of some things that you might want on the Patreon, I was thinking about doing extra shows, live Q&As, live happy hours that I can then post. I don't know if there's something that, I don't know if there's got to be a way to do that live. I don't know. I haven't really explored Patreon yet to figure out what is available to do. So if you guys have any ideas and you know how to use it better than I do, reach out, let me know. Until then, you can go to patreon.com and look for Podtiki, and it'll pop up, and you'll be able to find us. And I'm going to put links on all my social, probably tonight when I get done with this. So, until the next time, keep it tiki out there. Always may your rum go down smooth, and your tiki music have the groove, and make you want to move. So, look at that. How did I time that out for my drink to get done right when we were going back inside the mug? So, Stella, come on, girl, it's time to go back in the mug. You ready? All right, guys. Well, we're from Tony and Podtiki and Stella. It's time for us to go back in the mug. So, see anything in there? All right, girl. Say your goodbyes. We'll see you guys next week. Peace. Keep it tiki.